city was founded in 1871, so the earliest parks were North and South Park, North Park being what is today Acacia Park, and South Park being the park which is today around the museum, because the museum, of course, was not there. And then there was a wonderful park on the west side of the old Antlers. And one of the interesting things about that park, before it was actually a park, when the railroad station first went in, there was sort of a demonstration garden right there by the railroad station. And the idea was to show people from back east, because people had written about this area as the Great American Desert, so it was not particularly inviting. And so they had a demonstration garden there where they grew strawberries and chokecherries and currants and whatnot to show people that you could really grow things here, that it was not an American desert. And then Antlers Park, also a gift of General Palmer, was one of the earliest parks. And it was a wonderful park because the Antlers then wisely looked on Pikes Peak, not on Cascade Avenue. And there was a double staircase that went from the back of the Antlers down into Antlers Park. And it was a really major community amenity, which unfortunately it hasn't been maintained as. So all of the early parks, with the exception, I'm trying to think back into chronology, I think Dorchester Park might be the only early park that was actually a gift of the Dorr family. All of the others were donated by Palmer, which is really quite extraordinary. Up until World War II, Colorado Springs had 85 acres of parkland per 1,000 inhabitants, which is an unheard of ratio. Unfortunately, after World War II, we haven't maintained that ratio as well.
What about Stratton Park? What was Winfield Scott Stratton?
That's one of my favorite topics. The Winfield Scott Stratton, there are 2 citations you can find in the Gazette where Stratton gave talks and said he was really pleased to be able to give this park to the citizens of Colorado Springs. And it was clear that that was his intent, and it was a wonderful park, and people took the streetcar out to that park because it was a cool place. In fact, the first trees, the only trees in Colorado Springs when it was founded, were along Cheyenne Creek because, again, we were prairie grassland. So Stratton died in 1901 or 1902. Sorry, I don't remember exactly. And that remained, Stratton Park remained until 1928, when the trustees, in what I think is a terrible deviation from what was clearly the intention of Stratton, decided to sell off the land for development. And that, to me, is a major loss to the citizens of Colorado Springs, because it's so clear that Stratton, who was an incredibly generous man, wanted it to be a park for the citizens. And it ended up being developed, which I think is personally as a crime. But that happened a long time ago in 1928, so I don't think we're going to be able to get the park back.